Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of the Keto Pro podcast with myself, Richard Smith. Today, I am joined with Kev Mason, aka Keto Kev the Bear. Hello, Kev. Welcome on board.
Thank you very much for the intro.
After 10 minutes of trying to do an intro.
I tried to be serious for a second then, and I was like, just compose yourself, but I can't. No, I'm happy that we're doing this.
Like a bunch of kids, I mean.
If anyone's wondering, like, and listening why we're laughing, we've just been chatting for the last 10, 20 minutes and just not been able to stop laughing. We've tried to do an intro 3 times.
Yeah. Yeah, the joys.
Never mind. Just to prove how happy we are.
We got it. We got that in the end.
And that's important.
So just to circle back on something really quickly, I've done a few podcasts recently, and you, Kev, were the first person that I had on my podcast originally. So we've already recorded a podcast, and being the idiot that I am, I didn't realize that I had to save it from Zoom to my desktop, and we lost it, didn't we? So now we're finally circling back, and we're getting a podcast in. I can't even remember what the first one was about, to be honest. But and we've got no agenda for this one.
No, we don't. There doesn't need to be.
But we don't need one. So yeah, we'll crack on. So I think today we're going to base this one on an intro on who you are and how we came to join forces and things that we've got lined up moving forward. And anything else you want to chuck in?
Anything. We'll throw it in there.
Awesome. So I'm sure most of the guys already know about you and your journey, but let's tell the listeners and the viewers about who you are, what you used to do, and why you do what you do now.
No worries. Well, the best place to start is I joined the army in 2003, and I wouldn't say I was fit. I didn't really like exercise that much. It wasn't really that interesting. And so I passed all my fitness tests, no problem. But then what happened was I had an injury when I was waiting for my trade training to become a recovery mechanic. And what happened is being the drinking culture that the army is massively known for. And I think that sadly, it's become more prevalent these days, that it's going down a bit. But I was drunk on vodka and Red Bull, and I jumped through a window and I ripped my arms to pieces, and I got sent to hospital, obviously. And then when I came back out of the hospital, I was like downgraded. So I couldn't do much sport or anything like that because I couldn't do any press ups, because every time I tried to do a press up, it was open up the wound again as well. And it would split all the stitches in there because it was like, it's right on that wrist point there. So I got downgraded, but then I went through my training as a soldier and I passed all that part, but I didn't have to do any fitness. And I started to gain weight because I wasn't doing fitness. And even though I was only 22, I was still gaining weight. When I came to Germany is a very big drinking culture, especially if you're in the army. And we used to go drinking on Wednesday afternoons, and we used to go drinking again on Friday afternoons. And then we wouldn't stop drinking until Sunday night or Monday morning. And I just gained weight. And because of these injuries, it was easy to like tell the doctor, I've got a bad back. I can't do it now, because I got this and I got that. And I spent my whole career pretty much downgraded, but still earning the same and still doing the same things as everyone else did. I deployed to Iraq, and then done my Afghan training, but then I broke my ankle, so I couldn't go to Afghan. But yeah, then when I left the army not medically discharged. I left over my own accord. And it's funny, I left and I was Kat found out about paleo, Marxism and stuff like that. And Kat's my wife, for you don't know, Keto Kat. And one day I was standing next to her because she said to me, do this 30-day paleo with me. And I was like, no, why would I want to stop eating bread and pasta? It's very good for you, and I was like, the pasta's very good for you. It's very healthy. They say that on Weight Watchers, and I had a big drink. I still had a big drinking problem then anyway. And I looked at her one day in the mirror and I was like, Christ, you've lost some weight. Like she wasn't big anyway. You know what I mean? But she lost her baby weight because she just had a kid anyway. And I was like, and I looked down, and I'm always blunt with this. And I looked down, I couldn't see anything. My belly was so big that I couldn't see what was going on down there. And I went, Christ, I can't carry on like this. She's beautiful and I'm a complete mess. And I went, what do I need to do for this paleo stuff then? Is it going to make me lose weight? And she said, yeah. And I started paleo, and within 2 months, less than 2 months, I dropped 10 kilos effortlessly. I didn't even go to the gym. It was effortlessly. So I dropped the weight, and then I was like, I like this. This is good. And then I heard about keto, because we don't have German TV is rubbish, and we didn't have Sky because that's also rubbish. So we were watching a lot of YouTube videos, and there was this guy doing keto from Fit to Fat to Fit. His name's Drew Manning, and he done keto and was pushing that. And I was like, well, that sounds really good. What's he doing? Like, oh, bacon, steak all the time, but like even more than I'm eating now. Yeah, I'll have some of that. So I went keto and then lost more weight. And then by that point, I'd gained the confidence to go to the gym. And I started going to a CrossFit gym, and I got down to 89 kilos. And then I was like, right, I'm skinny. Do you know what I mean? I want to gain some muscle. So then I just started eating more protein. I'm playing around with keto macros and going to the gym and bulking out. And then, that's pretty much the basics of what the story is,
So the biggest takeaway from that for me is that your missus was the one that put you on to this. And so breaking news,
100%.
Keto Cat is the creator of Keto Kev.
Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, absolutely. No, that's not breaking news. We knew that anyway. She was definitely the one that pushed me into it. And she was the one that got me into it. And also she was the fountain of knowledge as well, because she was the one that got me interested. In fact, do you know what? You might as well wait until she gets back from work and do an interview with her, because she's got way more knowledge than I have. And people say like, oh yeah, Kev really clever. He knows this, he knows the science about it. And he knows that, the hormonal side, he knows this, he knows that. And I'm like, yeah, but my wife knows more. What? And she does. She's unbelievable, the stuff that she knows.
There we are. We need to get her on the next podcast.
Definitely. It's funny, she's an engineer, so she's not even she doesn't even do it for a job, but she's an engineer and she knows it.
Would she come on?
She's got to get her confidence up a little bit, but I reckon she would. I reckon we could put her up to it. She wants to be on more, but she's pushing me to do more videos with her. And I'm like, right, okay, let's do it then. So once she's done a few videos.
Why don't we do a dual podcast with the two of you? We'll get you both on.
Because then I'll look bad. No, I'm up for that. Yeah, definitely. I'll talk to her. I'll tell her. There we go.
Brilliant. So what I've noticed within this space is that the people that have the most knowledge and the people who are the most influential seem to have a background of ill health and have managed to reverse that ill health. Obesity is just one side, but that insulin resistance leads to all sorts of metabolic illnesses and diseases. So it's not just being obese; it's insulin resistance and inflammation. And you have you stumbled upon a new way of eating, which has changed your life. I think it's safe to say. And now, as part of that, you educate other people. So,
yeah. Sorry, go on.
Fire away.
Yeah. So I think what was it for me at the beginning was when I started doing keto, and I was doing it because it definitely wasn't around in the UK. There was it was around, obviously, because it's been around for 100 odd years, but there was no proper information that I could find that was good. It was all bad information. And so I was doing it via what the Americans were saying, and they were all high fat. And I mean, really high fat. Some like when I done my macros, or when I first had my macros calculated online, I think my fat macro was like 290 grams of fat a day. And it worked out as like 75 grams of protein for a man. And I was like, okay, then we'll go with that. And what I was doing was gaining weight. So I was gaining weight or not losing weight and hitting stalls because I wasn't using my body fat for fuel once I was fat adapted and in ketosis, because I was using the fat that I was eating.
Yeah,
and I was like,
exogenous fat.
well, basically, if I think about it, how can I change that around? So then Kat again built my macro calculator, and she said, well, what we need to do is we need to take a certain amount of percentage of your body fat from your from for weight loss, and then we need to give the dietary fat, but we need to make sure that the dietary fat doesn't go too low that it slows down your metabolism and it stops it and you end up stalling for that as well. So she'd done these little whiz things on Excel and stuff like that, and we worked it all out. We sat there for days working out the best way to do it. And I said, right, I'm going to try it and then we'll see what happens. And lo and behold, my fat macro dropped down massively, and my fat macro was around 150 grams, but my protein went up to almost the same. And I was like, that's a bit, are we going to go for this? And I went, sod it. You know what? Let's go for it. So I was on like 140, 150 grams of protein, and I started to lose weight, and it started all kicking off again. And then other things happened as well. So I started to, like, my skin conditions started to clear up as well. And then after you look into what the macros were, I was thinking to myself, well, what can I do to make my body better? So it's not just about eating, it must be about fitness as well, which is then I went to the gym. So then I started going to the gym and I gained the muscle mass. Once I was doing it at the gym, I would increase my protein a little bit as well so that I can get muscles, because, you know, you can't build your muscle if you're in a protein deficit. It's just not going to work. So after this was going on for about a year that I was experimenting myself. I think it was about 2014, 15. And I was experimenting and trying out different things. Like I was doing barefoot shoes, these Vibrams, they were brilliant as well. I used to wear them sometimes. I tried out Nobles as well to see if my posture would change. And I was trying these different things. I looked into meditation, yoga, and I tried to basically look at a broad horizon on what everybody was doing from different backgrounds of life. I even went vegan for a month, which everyone laughs at, but that made everything worse. So that was like pre-keto, but whilst I was on paleo, I went vegan. And instantly, within days, I started to feel worse, sluggish, tired, all those kind of things. My rashes were coming back. I was eating too many oxalates as well. I was having massive digestive issues on vegan as well. And I stuck with it for a month and then took my results and realized that that is definitely something that the human body should not have. And it just kind of added on to, like, I would add bits onto it as I was going along. And recently, so like 4 years ago, I was teaching the 4 pillars: food, fitness, health, and well-being. And the well-being and the health would incorporate things like sun and sleep. And now that I've taken them out of the pillars and I've added them as an extra topic that you need to, because sleep and sun are more prevalent than what we realize, then I've taken those out and I've focused extra hard on those things as well, and bringing them up to the same kind of importance level as food, fitness, health, and well-being. And I've even added fun on there as well, because if you're not having fun in life, you don't want to be 95 going up in the morning to deadlift, because we will be at 95, and thinking, I really wish I would have done whatever. I really wish I'd have taken that trip and done whatever. Do you know what I mean? So you have to have fun as well. So I've got food, fitness, health, and well-being are the pillars. And then my amplifiers are sun, fun, and sleep. And that's how I work it out.
Love it. Yeah, I totally agree. I think especially when it comes to sun, we're told to fear the sun because of skin cancer. This is something that has been around longer than man has. We've evolved under the sun.
Yeah.
The idea that the sun is detrimental to your health is preposterous. The UVA rays are essential for the production of nitric oxide, which increases longevity. Many of the benefits that we see to do with vitamin D are not actually vitamin D. It's vitamin D increase in the body is a surrogate marker to the increase in nitric oxide from the UVA rays. And we don't get enough of it. We don't get enough sun. Skin cancer is the big topic, isn't it? But skin cancer is predominantly caused through the overconsumption of vegetable oils or seed oils, which are high in oxidized omega-6 called linoleic acid. The UVB rays literally cook our skin from the inside out. Saturated fats protect our body. They protect the skin. I used to use, to go into the sun as a child, I would go beetroot red, and then I would peel and go super pale. I would never tan. I could not go into the sun at all. I was brought up on vegetable oil. And then in my adult life, since consuming saturated fats, I don't use any sunblock. There's probably more carcinogens in sunblock than there is in the UVA rays. And I don't burn. I tan and I don't burn. And I put this down to the lifestyle that I live, the fact that I'm not consuming these vegetable oils, I'm consuming saturated fats from animal proteins, and I'm getting enough sun. I probably don't get enough sun, actually, but the joys of living in a cave and being self-employed. Yeah, and that as well.
But mate, my kids are the same. So my kids don't. All right, my teenagers, they're a nightmare. So they go through periods of eating exactly what I think they should eat. And then it crept up that there was the teenager peer pressure of doing everything that everyone else does. And that is a really hard thing for kids. And so they started eating gluten again because that's what their friends were doing. But now they're both of them are in a boarding school. And we said to them, I said, look, make the choice. If you want to eat gluten, it's up to you. If you want to eat that crap, then do that, but don't lie about it. Just be honest. And both of them said, no, I really want to give it a go. So they've been brought up, and my 9-year-old has hardly ever eaten. He's always been mostly a carnivore, and he eats liver, he eats lung. He's like, yeah, I eat lung. I chew it like chewing gum. And that's what he does.
Awesome.
But they never wear sun cream, never. And the 9-year-old doesn't burn. And all these stories about blonde hair, fair hair burning, he's blonde and he never burns. But I always did. And I haven't done for the last 5 or 6 years as well, since I upped my animal fats. So since I've upped animal fats, all of my sunburning has gone away. And I used to burn and peel really badly. And I do a little bit, like a tiny, tiny little bit still, but nothing near any quantity than what I used to. And that is 100% showing you that when you change your diet, then, these things have an effect on the body.
It's about eating those foods which are evolutionary appropriate, isn't it? The foods that we have evolved our entire existence. When I began my journey, I was told by the doctor and family members that, you can't eat all this protein, you're going to get cancer. You can't consume all this fat, you're going to get cardiovascular disease. Yeah. Not one person had anything to say when I was stuffing my face with Pop-Tarts and Burger King and McDonald's. And now that I'm eating steak every day, cooked in butter. In fact, I don't even cook in butter anymore, but I was at the time. I just used the fat from the steak. But, the fact that I was eating stupid amounts of animal proteins and natural fats, that suddenly I was going to die. And it just does not make sense. What an idiotic way of looking at things. These people will say to you on a daily basis, these foods are bad for you. This is real food. Yeah. You would sacrifice a steak cooked in butter with some fried eggs, over Pop-Tarts or whatever. I keep coming back to Pop-Tarts because I remember having those when I was younger. You see the crap that people put into their shopping baskets. That is not food. It's not food.
I so judge people in the supermarket as well. Like my kids, when we get to the aisle and there's all the sweets and things like that, they say, well, what do you think about this one, Dad? And I'm like, let me read the ingredients out for you. And everyone can speak English in Germany. I'm like, right, sucralose. Yeah, if you want cancer, then you should. And they're like, oh my God. And they done it at the beginning, not realizing what I would be like. And I was super loud and they were like, you're so embarrassing. And I was like, just educating everybody around it. Everyone should be educated. And then I'm looking at it, and I take photos as well of people shopping on the trolleys going like that. And I go, Jesus Christ, no wonder everyone's so obese in this country. And my kids and my wife are going, everyone can speak English. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but I'm just educating. It's the wrong way to educate people, but I'm just educating people.
But do you know what? It's difficult when you know something that can help other people.
Yeah.
It's hard not to tell them, because you almost feel obligated that it's part of your duty to re-educate. Now, some people, we all know that the processed foods are bad, but there are other foods like cereals and vegetable oils that we are drummed in, from childhood, that they are healthy. Yeah. And some of these people will buy a bowl of muesli, a pack of muesli. Don't buy a bowl, do you? Well, you might be able to. They're shredded wheat or whatever it is, and they cook in their foods in vegetable oil, and they could actively be trying to improve their health and well-being.
Yeah.
But it's an education. They're uneducated. They don't realize the detrimental impacts. And I sometimes feel that it's difficult to bite my lip and not to go up to them in the shopping aisle, and say to them, look, do you realize these foods are detrimental to your health? To which I get a lot of abuse for. But what do you do? Because you almost feel, a friend of the family recently was, a friend of a friend of a family was recently diagnosed with cancer. And my first thing was, you need to tell them to stop eating carbs, because cancer cells are fueled by glucose. They are metabolically inflexible. They cannot be fueled by ketones. You need to tell them to come away from grains, and you need to tell them to stop consuming seed oils, which cause oxidative stress. You need to stop preaching. People don't like you preaching. I'm trying to save someone's life here. This person's got cancer. Take the advice I'm giving you and tell them to implement these changes. And they don't, because it's almost like a sore subject. You don't want to go telling someone who's got cancer that they need to do this and that. Well, if you don't tell them, you could be putting their health at risk.
Exactly.
But then I will get a boost back. Stop poking your nose in, blah, blah, blah. You don't know what you're talking about.
What's it got to do with you anyway?
Yeah.
My doctor said so.
Yeah, exactly. And it's
difficult.
It's tough.
It was the same with my mother-in-law. She died. She actually died in this very room of cancer. And I said to her, Mum, she had lung cancer. And I said to her, Mum, the best thing that you can do is eat like we do. Eat as little grains and gluten, go off that completely. And to be fair, she did the best that she could, that she tried to cut out as much as she could. She went to a lot of replacements for gluten as well, which tend to be soy, which is just as bad. Yeah. So it's like she tried herself to do it, but she didn't have the mental capacity, I would say, or the strength to go full keto, and she definitely would never have made it to carnivore. So we just tried the best that we could to try and educate her and help her along her way and get as much out of it as we can. And that's all you can do. I mean, like, there was a woman, like, it's funny when you say that about the shop. I think I was in Manchester last year, and I just went, no, it wasn't. It was in London. It was for the London Festival. And we packed up our bags, and on the way I stopped at Holland and Barrett to get a drink of something or whatever. And everyone else, or my wife and my friends, were walking around. And there was a woman there looking at and she said to the bloke, can you show me the best keto products, please? And I thought, I'm going to have some fun with this one. So I waited until he took her to the protein bars. And then I went around the other side of the aisle, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay. Pretending that I was interested, but really I'm listening to what she's saying. And she's going, are these going to be the best ones to put me in ketosis? And the guy in Holland and Barrett's going, yeah. These ones will put you directly into ketosis, and they're fantastic. And I think they were like the Adonis or something like that. And I don't know what they were. What is it? Carb Killer, the grenade.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, Christ. And when he handed it to her, I went, that's a load of rubbish. And she went, pardon? And I said, I'm a ketogenic health coach. And not only am I a ketogenic health coach, I'm one of the best as well in the UK. And if you eat that, then they're going to cause all sorts of problems in your body. And she went, really? And I said, look, I've got like 10 minutes. If you want, I can go through this whole shop with you and tell you what is good and what isn't good. And she went, you would really do that? And I said, yeah, absolutely. Because it's about educating and it's not about anything else. It's about getting the education out there. And Kat and my friend and that, they were waiting at the door and they're like, oh my God, what is he doing to this random person and her husband that just wanted a quiet shop on a Monday or a Tuesday morning or whatever it was. They just wanted to pick up their protein bar and they wanted to go. And the next thing it's turned into supermarket sweep of keto version. And I'm like, rubbish, 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 rubbish. Yeah, get some keto, Hannah. That's really good stuff. Da, 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 da. Yeah, get some of that. Okay, that's good. You can have that. Dash water, whatever. Blah, blah, blah. I went through the whole shop and she's going, right, okay. And I went, there's my business card. Join my Facebook group and we'll see you there. We can answer more questions. And she did. She joined my Facebook group and she put, you're the guy that corrected me in Holland and Barrett kind of stuff when she joined. She's been in ever since. Brilliant. And her husband as well. And you sometimes you just have to do that. And you could face someone, especially in this day and age, you could face someone that turns around and says, well, I wasn't asking you. What's it got to do with you anyway? I'll do it my way. This is my way of doing keto. And if I want to do it my way, then I will. And I would say, all right, then fine. That's up to you.
Yeah. But that one person, it can have that ripple effect, can it? You've re-educated that one person. That person may be in Holland and Barrett a week later, telling somebody else exactly what you were telling them.
Yeah, and her husband joined, and I'm sure that at some point she said she tagged one of her friends and said, you know, this is my friend, this is the group. I'm sure it was.
Perfect. Ripple effect. Yeah, it is. It's difficult. I don't go to supermarkets anymore. So it's been a little while since I've been at that aisle in Lidl. I used to do my meat shop in Lidl because Lidl, I believe, to be one of the better ones out of the supermarkets for meats. Although I now get all of my meat from a local butcher, which comes from a farm a couple of miles up the road. It's all grass fed and grass finished. So I'd rather support a local family-run business that is devoid of antibiotics and other crap that supermarkets inject. But so it's been a while since I've been in a supermarket. But yeah, I still try to give it some when I'm at the butcher counter, my local butchers, when people are there. You know, I cut the fat off that one, is too fatty, or you know, and it's like I'm on a diet, you know, and I know I need to cut the fat off, and it's like that's not the cause of your problems. But yeah, you quite often. I remember speaking to somebody by the butcher a couple of months ago, and this lady and her husband came up and started giving me a load of abuse. And she said, well, I'm a nurse, you know, I work in the medical, you know, I'm a medical professional. What you're saying is completely incorrect. And I never do. This isn't the type of person that I am, but I was so, she caught me on a bad day.
Yeah.
I looked her and her husband up and down, and I said, I live in a keto lifestyle. I look like this, and you look about 20 stone. Who do you think has got it right?
Yeah.
The proof is in the pudding. She looked at me in disgust and stormed off. And it's like, well, how can you give advice on health and nutrition if you are clinically obese, overweight, insulin resistant, diabetic? It's not. If you were to go to two dentists, one had disgusting teeth and the other had pearly whites, which dentist are you gonna go with?
Yeah, exactly.
If you went to the gym looking for a personal trainer and there was one guy there that was overweight and with a bit of a pot belly, and there was another guy or girl who was ripped and shredded and had nice capped shoulders with, you know, defined pecs and delts, which one are you going to use? The proof is in the pudding. Yet these medical professionals will tell us hands down that we have got it wrong when they are sitting there literally twice the size as we are, just because they've got this, you know, this piece of paper to say that they're medically qualified, which I find incredibly frustrating. Someone asked me once. Now, I am a qualified nutritionist. I had to jump through hoops in order to get my qualification, and go against, I had to write things that I didn't agree with in order to get my qualification. But to be honest, that qualification doesn't mean an awful lot to me. It was just something that I felt like I needed to acquire to have that level of authority. But it doesn't mean an awful lot to me. And I've lost where I was going with this now.
Just the way you casually said it. I thought you were going to say, and I've lost, and then and I've lost.
What a pair of idiots. Oh, yeah, I completely lost my train of thought.
I'll say something that maybe it might come back to anyway. So, but I was exactly the same. So, you know yourself, because we've been in contact for at least well over a year now, or a bit over a year-ish, or about a year actually. So you know the struggle that I had over the last year. And before that as well, when my mother-in-law died and everything like that, and I gained weight, even though I was doing everything that I should do when it comes to keto. And I've had that. And someone said to me, but you are not slim. And I said, no, I'm not. And I would fully own that I am not at my goal weight, which I haven't got a goal weight, but I know I want to be around 95 kilos, and I'm still 101. So it's like, but I have to also account for muscle mass sometimes, and I have to think about that when that's why I want 95 is okay for me. But I say to them, no, I'm not. But that doesn't mean that I wasn't worse. And I show them that picture. And that's the difference between what I can say. And I also saw a lady, or there was a woman on Facebook just a minute ago that posted almost exactly the same of what we've just said, where she said she's an author, and she's not like, people would look at her and say, well, why should I take health advice from you? And because you can turn around and say, that's what I did look like, and that's what I look like now. But those nurses that you were talking about can't turn around and say, because if they show a before picture when they were 30 stone, and they say, I've done this to get to 20 stone, it's not that believable. But what is believable is what we've done, yourself, and what I've done as well. And I can show you a picture of when I was, like 95. Yeah, there it is. Look.
There we are. So look, I was listening.
Yeah.
And you moved out of the way. Yeah. So that's a picture of now and then. So, I mean, massive improvement.
That's not even my worst. That's not even the worst of what I looked like. There's one that I've got one of me when I was in Canada, and I was sitting on the tank, and I was sitting there naked washing, and you can see, like, because it was a side profile, you can really see how bad it really was. So it's like, it's huge. Do you know what I mean? And even when I stand up now, you can see that there's still some fat going around the back and things like that. And you can see, but there's nothing like what it used to be. And it's because you're on a continuous journey and a continuous education on doing things, that people are listening to you as well. And that's the good thing about, like, now for me, is I can turn around and say, yeah, sure, I'm not at my goal yet, but I've learned enough. And it's not going to take a year or 6 months to lose, however many stone it is, or 30. You're not going to lose 30 kilos, instantly. It's going to take a while, and there's going to be ups and downs, and you've got to try and work out what's best for you as well. So, it's hard, but you do it, and you can still educate as you're going along. But the people that, like, started off their nursing career slim and telling people to do this for their diabetes, but then end up with diabetes, no, they haven't got a leg to stand on. They shouldn't be talking like that.
Yeah, I agree. I do feel a sense of pressure sometimes to maintain a certain size and weight and condition because of what we do. So, I mean, that in itself adds a stress. Stress increases cortisol, which signals the body to store fat. There are lots of factors involved. And the difference is that, you were not training as an athlete either. So, you don't necessarily need to be ripped and shredded with abs. It's about being fit and healthy, which you are. So it isn't purely about the way that you look either. So lots of factors to take into account, but I just remembered where I was going before I lost my trail of thought.
Go for it.
It was, I posted some advice. Somebody asked a question on Facebook, and I put a comment on there. And this person came back and slated me and then said, you know, where's your qualification? Now, I could have sent them a picture of my nutrition certification, but I didn't. I sent them a picture of me after the competition, or my profile picture. I said, this is my qualification. Where's yours? You know, it's the proof is in the pudding. This is how I live my life.
No, I totally agree with it. This is the way I live my life, and this is the way what I do. And I've done some online courses, and I've done some like I've done my personal trainer course, and I've done an online one. The reason why I do mostly online courses is because where I live,
convenience as well.
Yeah, it is convenient, and you can do it bit by bit. And that doesn't mean that just because it's an online course, it doesn't mean that the information is not of a high standard. So when I done my personal training course, I felt that it was most important that I get backup knowledge from a real personal trainer. So when I was doing it, I was consulting my coach at my gym, who you met in, oh, you didn't meet him in London. Yeah, you did. You met him in London at dinner. And I was saying to him, is this right? Do you know what I mean? Is this a genuine course? Am I wasting my money? Am I going to become a personal trainer? And even if I'm not, you know, the same standards as what it is in Germany, or if I don't have a master's degree, at least it's given me the base knowledge that I can then add that to my arsenal of weapons and say, I can teach you, I can give you a basic fitness plan. I'm not going to be able to teach people how to do Olympic weightlifting, and I'm not going to be able to teach people how to, you know, do, you know, none of my clients are going to do 503 kilo deadlift because they can break the world record and beat the mountain. But what they are going to do is they're going to be able to do basic fitness at a level that they can do to get themselves down to a weight where they can move on and advance. And most of the time, you end up learning it yourself anyway. So I didn't do a course and then, you know, I mean, I went to the gym and learned it all myself. I learned about restriction band exercises. I learned about resistance bands and blood flow restriction and all that kind of stuff. Learned it myself because I wanted to know about it. And then I ended up getting fitter. And it's not because I took a course with a coach that I learned it. So you'll end up learning it all yourself anyway. And it's the same with meditation and yoga. So I got a couple of qualifications in that, but I double checked it with my yoga instructor because it's a physical thing, but that involves, you know, like not touching someone, but, you know, like being in a physical space with someone that they can cause an injury. But if you do something like my red light therapy or my cold plunge course that I did, then you don't need it backed up because it's science. Do you know what I mean? And it's not something that you can turn around and say, he cold plunged the wrong way, so he, I don't know, died or whatever. Do you know what I mean? If I tell them, right, these are the rules on staying for this amount of time and that amount of time, but if I say go and do a deadlift with your back arched like a tortoise, you know what I mean? Like then, and they're going to do it wrong and they're going to injure themselves. That's the two differences with those kinds of courses. So yeah, you can educate yourself, be qualified, but at the end of the day, what does it actually mean? It doesn't really mean that much anyway, because qualifications were invented by someone at some point in their life anyway. You know what I mean? Mark Sisson, for example, he qualified himself and then built his own course and then qualifies other people now. Now, where's the person that says, hold on a minute, that's not right? They just take it as being right because he is who he is, you know? So if you've got that knowledge base and you can put that knowledge in an argument or a conversation and win that argument or even win the discussion with your outstanding knowledge of whatever you are knowledgeable in, that surely can be a written down qualification that says whatever, you know, like you done your nutritionist course, but someone else on that course might teach it the way that you disagree with the way they learned it. And we know better.
And what my tutor said to me when I finished the course was that she was well up for low carb and keto, understood the benefits. She sent me links to people like Dr. McCullough.
Yeah.
So she's obviously one of the enlightened ones, you know, as I like to call them. And she said that part of your job now as a nutritionist is to stay up to date with the latest research papers, you know, things published on the BMJ, stay up to date with all the latest news. and to continue to educate, because, you know, what was once believed to be true may not be true tomorrow.
Exactly.
And I feel that that is what we do. What we preach is heavily backed with science, and clinical trials, studies on the BMJ, amongst others. Everything that I teach is evidence-based, highly evidence-based.
Yeah.
It is my opinion, but it's my opinion based on experience and evidence. And I believe that the way we live to be the healthiest way to live. You know, there's varying degrees as well. I believe any form of low carb is going to see a benefit to health, and then even dirty keto is better than living a normal lifestyle. I know. I knew that. I knew that. Get a reaction.
I know what you mean. I totally agree with you. I know what you mean.
You know, we are at this end, aren't we? You know, we are carnivore, and I believe that to be the healthiest way to live. And you know, I live that way because of that's where the research has taken me. But I don't expect someone who walks through my door to begin their lifestyle as a carnivore.
No,
Let's start with educate. You know, so it is a progressive path. You know, but there are people out there who want this step change and are willing to make that big change. And these are the people that I find have underlying health issues, severe underlying health issues, who have no choice. People who tend to come for weight loss, they almost want an easy fix, and you've got to almost bait them into it, isn't it? And but yeah, we're all on different parts of our journey, but it's you know, and that's part of what you do, isn't it? You know, you're a keto coach, you educate people, which brings me on to some news we've got moving forward, isn't it? Which is
we do.
So
it's exciting.
Woohoo! So I'll leave you tell everybody about that. Don't give too much away yet, because even though it will be live by the time this goes out. But yeah, fire away to tell everybody about what we've got planned moving forward.
Well, it was a long time coming, wasn't it? And people have said to me, people have said in the past, you've got to do a collaboration with this guy. Even before I met you, you know, people were like, you've got to know this guy. You've got to do something with this guy. You two would fit on, you know, with a house on fire. And then when I met you in Bristol, something clicked. And then because we've been super busy, you know, and with personal lives as well as, like, you know, work as well, because my work's been good, but my personal life over the last year has been busy. But now it's all fallen into place now that we've moved house and stuff. But yeah, we're joining forces, aren't we? As a team to move forward, to educate people and coach people in overall health. And I think, well, we can say that about the website, can't we? So I'm on your website now, and all people need to do is, if they are looking for coaching or looking for help as well, then, you know, then I am here for them, and they can go, you can go via Rich's website if you're listening or watching, and book a free consultation with me, and then we can find the best plan and the best route for you. And what's really important is not everybody needs one-on-one coaching. And I think that's important to say. Wait a minute. So I have people, and a lot of people get a little bit worried that when they do one-on-one, it's going to be super intense, and they're not going to find that they're going to be able to do it because they lead busy lives. So, you know, I've got other coaching options out there that I can do. I can put them in a smaller coaching group, and we can check in every couple of days, every week or something like that. And it's something like an ongoing thing. Depends on your intensity, because not everyone really needs that absolute intense education. And also it doesn't work for some people as well. You know, they are, like you said, I am on the strict side of things, and I do demand the standards. And I do say from the word go, no alcohol, you know, no gluten, there's no this, there's no that, you know, and you've got to cut this out, and then you've got your list of stuff that you can have. But it's something that, that we've been planning for a little bit now, and it's worked out.
Definitely. And as an added bonus, if following that free consultation with yourself, there's if clients do decide to sign up, there's an introduction pack, isn't it, or a goodie pack to kickstart
you get a goodie bag.
And they get preferential discount through the website, as you know, as long as they're continue with the coaching with yourself. So plenty of benefits to come along with this as well. And I think you nailed it on the head that you know, there's not one size fits all. Everyone needs, you know, a tailored package, and that's what you were offering is this tailored package. So
I like the word, because I like the word bespoke, because it really strips it down. So we all know that I like my suits and stuff like that, and I've never had, just so you know, I'm not that much of a ponce. Oh, that'll be the doorbell. Wait a sec. Hello. Yeah, I'm doing a podcast, so go do your homework, and I'll come up in when I'm done. All right? No, bye.
Oh, I love it. He said this was going to happen before we came on air. Oh, Cretan.
Sorry about that, fans. Cut it out, keep it in. It doesn't really matter. I'm not bothered.
I was just saying now that this is exactly what you said was going to happen before we came on air, isn't it? That the doorbell was going to ring, and what did you say? Something like, "My son is so lazy, he won't get up and open the door," or something. I don't know.
No. He forgot his door key this morning.
Oh, I forgot it. Right, yeah.
His door key. So I was like, "Oh, there's this lion there," and I said, and he knows. He comes back. He's just had swimming, and now I've lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Yeah. So the suit, right? I've never had a completely. When you go to I guess it's not even bespoke. I guess it would be tailored. So when you go to a tailor and you say, right, make me a bespoke suit, they turn around and they say, okay, then they take the measurements, everything all over your body, and they make that suit to fit you specifically from scratch. That's what bespoke means. So I guess my coaching isn't bespoke. I would say it's more tailored, because then what they do is they take an already pre-made suit and they tailor it to your body. So what you get from me is you get a package that's already there, like the base package, which is food, fitness, health, and well-being. And now the sun, sleep, and fun. And I will tailor that package to you as we go along on the coaching. So it is a fully tailored program. So if you say to me, I have nailed, because we do it in weeks, we do first week is food, then fitness and health and well-being. So I've nailed the food, and then we move on to the fitness, we're going to nail that. But if you still have dramas with the food, then I'm still going to go back and create things for you, whatever you need. If you come to me in the 4th week and say, you know, I really, really would like a recipe for, I don't know, what is it, Kung Fu chicken, or whatever it is, you know, then I will go, okay, I don't have that. But what I can do is I can go to the supermarket and I can get some stuff and I can make it for you. So it is a really personal experience with the one-on-one. And it goes on, like I said, it goes on for a month, and you get my WhatsApp number as well. So you get to text me. And even if I'm in bed, unless I turn it on airplane mode or turn it off, as I turn it off now, because just going on the sidetrack, if you turn your phone on airplane mode at night, right, and you go to the toilet because you're over 40 now, in the middle of the night, you are more likely to pick that phone up, flip it off to airplane mode. You've got that blue light straight in your eyes, and you're going to check Facebook because you think you've missed something, or Instagram, and then you're going to go back to bed and you're going to be able to go to sleep. So that I tell people now they've got to turn their phone off, because there's no chance that there's 1 in 1,000 or 1 in 1,000,000 people would pick that phone up on the way to the toilet and turn it on to check it. They can't be bothered. But what they can do is flick of a switch off airplane mode. So that's a real good tip. So yeah, then you know, if I'm sitting in bed and, you know, I'm watching TV or whatever with Kat, or, you know, whatever, and I'll text you back. Unless I don't get the message, then my phone is turned off. And then what you do with the coaching as well is they get my monthly plan of what I'm doing the whole month. So if I am going for a weekend trip, I will put going away, like this Sunday, for example, I'm going to Brussels to the James Bond exhibition that was one of my birthday presents. So I'm putting on there, available on WhatsApp this time, and this time. And if you know what I mean? So it's tailored. And if they need me as an emergency, they'll put emergency, need you, blah, blah, blah. So it's really good like that. And that's how you get it tailored.
Brilliant. Do they also get these Kev Mason patented voicemails that I get?
Yeah, I've just
what was what I had one the other day where it was like 4 or 5 minutes long. You went off on a tangent, and it was just to tell me something really sort of insignificant. It was like 5-minute message just to say, I can't even remember what it was, but I was creased. It was this message for 5 minutes of you shouting at people as you were driving through the street and all sorts of
I think I put it on. I was driving to the gym because it was an extra rainy day. My gym is in cycling distance, but it's also in driving distance if it's absolutely horrendous weather. Because the one thing I don't want to do is go to the gym soaking wet, or my bag is soaked through and I don't feel motivated and not do it properly. So I would rather drive on a crappy day and arrive to the gym motivated and still pumped, ready to go, than go through completely shitty weather and feel like crap when I get there and then end up drinking a coffee and not bothering doing the gym session. So I think I was on the way to the gym and I was infuriated by the people that were walking and driving around, and just in general, everyone was annoying me that day as well. So I thought, yeah, I think I took it out on the phone, because I just stuck on that record. Oh my God.
Any of Kev's current or future clients, if you haven't had one of Kev Mason's patented voicemail messages, request one now.
Razzie gets it all the time. If you really want to laugh, you should be in my the group that I have with my moderators, with Mark and Razzie and Dawn and Ashley and that, and Maria. And Maria refuses to send voice messages because she says she sounds like a farmer. So every time she sends a message, well, not every time, but if I'm feeling like it, she will send a message on text and I will read that message in a farmer's accent over a voice message and send it back to her.
Love it. Awesome stuff.
But see, that's the fun part of life that you need to take into consideration. If you don't have fun, then what's the point?
It's these little voicemails that I get off you that see me through my day.
Yeah.
There we are. Awesome stuff. Right then, Kev, let's wrap it up. Where can people find you? Obviously, they can come to the Keto Pro website for coaching. They can come direct. Obviously, there's benefits to coming to the site first, but
yeah,
it's what's your website? What are your socials? Where can people find you?
Everything is on my website. So go to www.ketokev.com and then there's a contact us page and it's got everything on there. In fact, what I might do is I might update it. In fact, I'll update it in the next days and I'll put your stuff on there as well. So people can find you now that we're the dream team. And yeah, so anything you need on there, it's all got the group, the Instagram, all of those stuff. But if you also search Kev Mace 83, it is on, no, Keto Kev 83. Yeah, Keto Kev 83. Yeah, Keto Kev 83 on Instagram is Instagram's the most. I like Instagram. I use it quite a lot, and it's easy to jump on a live and put the world to rights to my phone on a live video on Instagram. So on those stories that you see, and they're available for 24 hours, you'll see how my mood changes being around Germans all the time and stuff like that, you know. What's stressing me out? But yeah, but just go to ketokev.com and you'll find all the information. Yeah, and also if you are in Rich's group, then just tag me and have a shout in there. We should do some. We're going to be doing a couple of lives in there anyway. We should do some live Q&As. We're doing in your group, we're doing in my group, and just have a quick Q&A about life in general.
Love it. All stuff to look forward to. Brilliant stuff. Right, thank you, Kev. Cheers for coming on. Well appreciated as always. We'll wrap it up there. We got first of many, no doubt. Many. Awesome. Right, that's goodbye from me, and I'm guessing goodbye from Kev.
Yep. See you later.
Take care.
Take care.